Every time you leave that family gathering, your peace drops from a 7 to a 3, not metaphorically, measurably. If that pattern repeats for 6 months, your baseline can shift downward. A 7 becomes a 5. A 5 becomes normal tonight. We're not asking, are they toxic? We're asking a harder question. Is God protecting you? Or are you training yourself to tolerate chaos? What if the distance growing between you and certain family members is not rejection, but protection? Today I'll show you how to measure that difference using scripture and a 7-day experiment so you stop confusing spiritual protection with personal failure. You sit at the dinner table, conversation starts neutral, then the subtle comparisons begin. Still doing that project? You're too sensitive. Why can't you just be normal about church? You smile. You nod. You swallow it. 3 hours later, your body feels like you ran a marathon. Your chest is tight. Your mind replays every sentence. On a scale of 1 to 10, your peace before dinner was a 7. After dinner, it's a 3. That 4-point drop is not drama. It's data. If contact with one person consistently lowers your internal peace below a 5, what is that pattern telling you? I'm not talking about one bad night. I'm talking about a repeated pattern over 5, 6, 7 interactions. Every visit leaves you exhausted. Every call leaves you second-guessing your calling. You start assuming the problem is you. But what if the growing separation is not rejection? What if it is protection? A smoke detector goes off before you see flames. It's loud. It's inconvenient. It protects you. Repeated emotional heaviness may work the same way. Before we measure anything, sit in this tension. Joseph in a pit. No explanation. No apology. Silence. Abraham packing without knowing where he's going. Jesus misunderstood by his own brothers. Elijah alone in a cave hearing only a whisper. No frameworks, just separation without clarity. Let that settle. Then ask, what if separation is sometimes formation? Then measure it. Before we interpret distance as strategy, we anchor ourselves in what does not change. God's character. Here is the outcome. Within 30 days, you will have a measurable peace metric, so you can stop guessing whether distance is fear or formation. Philippians 4-7 says the peace of God will guard your heart and mind. Guard is security language. A guard does not remove every threat. It monitors access and filters entry. If peace guards you, it functions like a security system. When an alarm keeps sounding, we do not shame it. We investigate the breach. Here is the metric in one sentence. If your peace drops 3 or more points across 5 interactions, you are looking at a pattern, not a bad day. Track it for 30 days. That is your data. Now test it against Joseph, Abraham, and Jesus. Claim repeated peace disruption signals misalignment. Why both your nervous system and your spirit respond to threat, whether criticism, manipulation, or dismissal. Consequence: chronic exposure without boundaries trains hypervigilance. Takeaway: guarded peace may require adjusted proximity, not silent endurance. Peace is not vague, it is a compass. In stable conditions, the needle steadies. When interference appears, it spins. You do not accuse the compass, you adjust your route. Protection is not hatred. Separation does not cancel love. God is for you, not against you. His character is faithful. Scripture holds tension. Abraham was told to leave his father's house. That was formation, not punishment. Joseph's betrayal led to preservation. Without pit and prison, no palace. Jesus faced disbelief from his brothers, yet his mission continued. The goal is clarity, not accusation. We are not labeling anyone toxic. We are testing whether your peace disturbance aligns with biblical patterns of protection and formation. We are taught to honor family, yet calling sometimes requires distance. Culturally, proximity equals loyalty. Biblically, obedience can require relocation, geographical or emotional. Ignore the signal and the cost is measurable. You normalize chaos as love, numb internal alarms, and your baseline peace shifts downward. A 7 becomes a 5. Anxiety feels permanent. Reset the promise, measurable clarity. In 30 days, you will know whether your peace is guarded or repeatedly breached, based on data, not emotion alone. 3 outcomes exist. 1 bad night, ignore it, repeated drop, investigate, peace rises with distance, adjust proximity. That's it. Now see how Scripture handles each scenario. What if the silence frustrating you right now is the mechanism that will clarify your next 30 days? If you understand this, you gain the ability to distinguish ego avoidance from divine protection using data, not emotion. Before you test silence for 7 days, understand why it mattered in Scripture. Joseph's silence shaped him in the pit and prison. Abraham's departure required distance from familiar voices. Elijah's isolation came before the whisper. In each case, separation clarified identity before connection was restored. Once you see that pattern, run the experiment. There are moments when God does not repair a misunderstanding because the misunderstanding moves you. Joseph's betrayal was not corrected immediately. Abraham's departure was not negotiated. Jesus did not force belief from his brothers. Elijah, in 1 Kings 19, encountered God not in chaos, but in a whisper after isolation. Isolation came before clarity. Now the diagnostic, day 1 to 7, no initiating texts, no planning, no emotional labor. Track responses. If you usually send 10 messages per week, and this week you send 0, how many come in without prompting? 2? None? If relational energy is 90% coming from you, the connection may be conditional. Claim. When effort is one-sided, sustainability declines. Why? Attention follows investment, and people protect what they invest in. Consequence: if only you invest, only you protect the bond. Takeaway: silence exposes ownership. Conditional love often reveals itself through silence. Mark 3:21 shows even Jesus was misunderstood by his family, not because he lacked love, but because his assignment disrupted expectations. Reset the promise. We are measuring whether distance is ego avoidance or divine protection. Second metric, recovery time. If your peace drops to 4 and takes 48 hours to return to 7, that is system strain. If it rebounds in 2 hours, that is resilience. Track both numbers for 30 days, peace drop and recovery time. When prolonged becomes normal, the environment is shaping you more than you are shaping it. Claim prolonged recovery time signals environmental misalignment. Why? The nervous system does not stay activated without perceived threat. Consequence: chronic exposure reshapes identity around defense. Takeaway: formation requires environments where peace rebounds quickly. This is where 2 Corinthians 6:14 applies, not as condemnation, but as guidance on compatibility. Alignment matters. We agree love is central. Love does not remove the need for alignment. Light and darkness here are incompatibility indicators. Think of a phone disconnecting from weak Wi-Fi to search for a stronger signal. It feels abrupt. It is optimization. Consider bone healing. When a fracture occurs, doctors immobilize the limb. Movement feels natural. Stillness feels restrictive. Move too early and the bone heals improperly. Separation can be spiritual immobilization that prevents malformed identity. Now a reasoning chain. Claim: God may allow friction when proximity threatens formation. Why? Constant affirmation from misaligned voices reinforces an outdated identity. Consequence: you remain the version they are comfortable with, not the one you are called to become. Takeaway: misunderstanding can accelerate identity transition. Imagine Abraham trying to fulfill Genesis 12 while negotiating daily with familiar voices invested in his old geography. Delay becomes likely. Compliance becomes diluted. Sometimes separation is not social failure. It is formation. Combine the metrics: a 3 or more point peace drop across 5 interactions, plus recovery time longer than 24 to 48 hours. That is a pattern. Run the 7-day silence diagnostic. Track the data for 30 days. Then decide your level of proximity. Here are the stakes. Ignore the pattern, and your baseline peace keeps drifting downward. Honor it and you create space where calling matures. One path normalizes chaos. The other protects formation. Comment protect if you're testing this for 30 days. Next week, we'll break down how to set boundaries without dishonoring your family so obedience and honor can coexist.